What's going on, everybody? Thank you so much for coming back to another week of the Clone Wars. We are here with the next episode, Old Friends Not Forgotten. Hell yeah. So yes, we are finally here. The episode I think we were all excited to see. The beginning of the Siege of Mandalore. The episode where Ahsoka and Anakin finally see each other again. I've seen a lot of people criticize the first 8 episodes for not being as story-driven as they wanted it to be or as crucial as they felt it needed to be. But I felt like they were really great setup. I've enjoyed every single episode. And if you've seen my reviews for all of them, you know that I've had a great time with this season thus far. But without a doubt, this has to be the best episode that has released in the season so far. The emotion, the feeling, the character moment. This is easily the best episode that's come out in this season thus far, and it's got me crazy excited to see what's next. So as usual, there will be spoilers in this video, so that's your warning. So this episode starts with a classic Lucasfilm intro, as well as the classic Star Wars opening theme. I love that so much. It doesn't have its typical Clone Wars opening, and I think that that's really to signify that these last 4 episodes are about to be something incredibly special, and really what the Clone Wars has really been building up to. I had such a great time with this episode. The emotion, the feeling, the music, the character moments. This is an episode that is going to go down in history as one of the best Clone Wars episodes without a doubt. So we start this episode off by seeing Anakin and Obi-Wan fighting with the clones on top of this bridge. There's this great action sequence where they have to deceive the droids in order to take command. And they end up getting a call on their comlink essentially saying that somebody with the name Fulcrum, or the secret name Fulcrum, has called them and they need to go back to the station so they can see who it is. Their instant assumption is that it's Saw Gerrera, which I love that little touch. But yeah, they end up finding out that it's Ahsoka. If you've watched Star Wars Rebels, you already know that in Star Wars Rebels, Ahsoka goes by the code name Fulcrum. It's her secret rebel name. And once I heard Fulcrum, I knew it was Ahsoka. I was so excited to see it. And one thing that was really cool for me watching this episode was that back in April in Chicago, I was at Star Wars Celebration. I was in the panel for the Clone Wars. I actually waited out in the snow for like 30-40 minutes just to get into the panel. And it was a beautiful panel. It was super, super awesome to be there amongst all these excited Star Wars fans and to see the footage that they were showing us, the unfinished footage and all this kinds of stuff. They were giving us all kinds of sneak previews. And so a lot of the stuff that they showed us in the panel there was exactly what we saw in this episode. We got to see unfinished scenes that were now finished in this episode. So it was cool to kind of have a sneak preview into some of these scenes and then watch them here, see them completed, and still feel the emotional just tug and pull of your heart. There were so many great moments in this episode with Ahsoka having to see Anakin again. A little moment where Obi-Wan has to remember Satine, his love, who was the ruler of Mandalore, who died by the hands of Darth Maul earlier in the series. And yeah, this was just a beautiful episode. So many great moments with the characters. I love the interactions between Anakin and Ahsoka in this when they finally got to see each other. When Anakin sees her initially on the hologram, he's kind of stuttering. He doesn't really know what to say. And I was really curious to see what he would say as that scene was progressing and to see that he really didn't know what to say. The fact that he was kind of at a loss for words just almost made it better for me because what would you do in that moment, right? Here's just Padawan that left the Jedi Order. You kind of feel responsible for it and you've missed her and she's finally here and you're excited to see her, but she's not necessarily jumping with joy to see you. She tries to keep it business oriented and it makes this really great dynamic between the two of them, but there are some great moments with them. I really enjoyed the heartfelt moments. There's one great moment that we got to see when we were at the panel, which was that Ahsoka gets to see that a bunch of clone troops now have painted on her, essentially her skin complexion and the white lines on her face onto their helmets, and it's this great moment of them just kind of honoring their legacy and their loyalty to her, even though she's not part of the Grand Republic and that she's not part of the Jedi Order anymore. So I really love that moment. We saw that back at Celebration last year, so to be able to see it now completed, the full scene, it was still emotional. I loved that moment. I loved everything with Ahsoka, Anakin, and Obi-Wan in this episode. Bo-katan and Ahsoka are essentially trying to get Anakin and Obi-Wan to get the Jedi and the Republic to side with them so they can take a group of people or a group of troops down to Mandalore so they can stop Maul. Because of the timeline, it makes sense, but I'm so bummed at the thought that Anakin and Obi-Wan will probably not be here for the rest of the episodes or any of the stuff that's intermixed with Ahsoka, which is really sad because I feel like there could be so much more great time spent with all of them, but it makes sense timeline-wise. Right now in the timeline, we're at the tail end of the Clone Wars and right before the events of Episode 3. So in this episode, Obi-Wan and Anakin end up getting a call that Grievous has attacked Coruscant to come and get Palpatine, and that Shaak-Ti was the one who was sent to go get him, but they haven't heard from Shaak-Ti. And I love that little hint and nod because that's connecting to Episode 3. If you're familiar with the films, you know that Episode 3 begins with Anakin and Obi-Wan and the Grand Republic having to do this big, great space battle over Coruscant to save the Chancellor, to save Palpatine from Grievous. That's where Count Dooku dies. And in the deleted scenes for Episode 3, we actually do see Shaak-Ti get killed by Grievous. So the fact that they said that Shaak-Ti was the one that was sent to go rescue him and they haven't heard from her is obviously hinting at the fact that she's now been killed. And that's a great little hint and nod there because unless you know the deleted scenes, unless you're really well versed in the behind the scenes of Episode 3, you wouldn't know that detail. So I really love that they did that.
Stinking Jedi.
Here's this mosquito flying right here in the back. Gotta love Florida. So yeah, Anakin and Obi-Wan are called away, and Anakin essentially proposes, let's promote Captain Rex to Commander so he can go to Mandalore, and we'll just have Ahsoka there as his consultant. So that's what ends up happening. Bo-Katan, Rex, the rest of the Mandalorians that are working with Bo-Katan, as well as Ahsoka, they all go to Mandalore, and this big, great action sequence starts off. There was so much great action, little funny moments between Ahsoka and Rex, and I really just enjoyed the entire last half of this episode. This episode is filled with great action, great emotional moment, great character moments, and I really did have a great time with this episode, guys. I think that if you are a fan of Star Wars and you have not watched the Clone Wars and you're watching this for some reason, you should watch the Clone Wars as soon as you can, because this entire experience has been something amazing. And I can already tell that these last 4 episodes are going to be connective tissue to the films that I think we've always wanted. This episode essentially ends with us discovering that Darth Maul was trying to deceive Bo-Katan to bring the Jedi, but she wanted him to bring Obi-Wan. Of course, obviously, we already know the history that Obi-Wan and Darth Maul have. And yeah, I'm really excited to see where this goes, because now the episode ended with Ahsoka being trapped by Darth Maul. He says essentially that he was waiting for Obi-Wan, and he's like, what are you doing here? And it ends with this great moment of Ahsoka holding up her sabers, and then goes to credits. And yeah, I'm super excited. Everything from the way that they introed this episode to all the character moments and the setup for these next 3 episodes, the fact that it ended on such a big note with Ahsoka already being with Darth Maul, and there's 3 more episodes. I'm super excited to see what happens, and I'm really hoping also that we get, within those 3 episodes, some time spent with Anakin and Obi-Wan that will really give us the connective tissue to where they were right before the events of episode 3, you know, just right before. I really want to see it. I'm loving this season so far, guys. This was my favorite episode so far. I definitely want to hear what you guys have to say. So hit that like button down below if you enjoyed this video. Comment down below your thoughts on this episode. Did you like this episode? Which has been your favorite episode in the season? As usual, I appreciate all of you guys for watching. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button if you have not already done so, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.